for the audience people, I'm Syra. I did the last film, Book Clubbing.
And I'm Olivia, and I did the first film, Quilt Fever. Should we just dive into
Yeah,
this?
I mean, I really like our category, you know, quilters and book clubbers. I don't know what we would theme this category. Maybe super cool, really hip category.
Yeah, exactly. It's female centric, but feels like things that people don't usually make films about women.
Yeah, it's like female centric without yelling it, I think, as well.
There we go.
I'll start. What are you a quilter yourself? Like, what inspired you to make this film about quilting? It was a world that I had no idea about, and I thought you captured it so quirkily cool.
Well, thank you. I wish that I was a quilter, because so many, I just feel like I would have gained some respect earlier and easier, maybe, with some of the women in the film. But no, I was looking for my next film to make. I was coming off of working with the Center for Investigative Reporting, and I worked with their reporters to basically make films on their investigations. So as you can imagine, it was like kind of a not always, there weren't a lot of quilter films in that, So I just needed to do like a lighter film, and so I was already with that lens, like looking at different stories, and I sort of came across quilting, and I got really deep in the message boards between quilters, and I was just sort of like a little bit enamored, and became like a bit of like a quilt groupie, like very quickly. And yeah, that was just pretty much how I decided to do it.
Did they teach you a thing or two?
I did get to use the machines once, and it was pretty hard. Yeah, it's not easy. But what about you? What inspired you for your film?
Well, I guess we made this film actually for the 48-Hour Film Festival. Are you familiar with that project?
Not really, no.
So yeah, I'd never done it before, but it's a global thing. It's called the 48-Hour Film Project, and they go around to different cities once a year. And basically the only things that you could have ahead of time is your crew and locations and equipment. And then you like go into this room, and then everybody draws out of a hat. You draw a genre, and then on a Friday night at 7 p.m. And then they give you, everybody has the same character, line of dialogue, and a prop. And all the groups have to use the same 3 things, but they all have different genres. And so you basically have 48 hours to write, shoot, edit, and flip a film to turn in on Sunday night at 7 p.m. It's a competition.
Yeah. I think so. What was the prop and the line?
So our genre was comedy, and our character was Luke or Linda Turlington, and they had to be a voiceover artist, so they have to be seen at some point. The line of dialogue was "She's not in charge anymore," and then the prop was a golf ball. And I think that's my one regret. We just kind of went into it thinking like, oh, we'll just experiment with, collaborating with, we brought together a bunch of women. And so we were like, let's just see what we make and see if we all work well together to like make something in the future under, the production pressure. And we did not expect to be like satisfied with what we came up with after 48 hours, but but we were.
That's awesome. So how did so you worked on it, obviously we turned it in Sunday, but how much, what did you put any extra work in after? How much did that?
I put the title cards or like the title credits after.
But that's it? You didn't do any re-edits or anything?
I pulled a scene out.
Okay.
But that's it. Yeah, we didn't.
What was the scene you pulled out?
There was a scene after she gets hit with a golf ball where she's like, it's a POV shot of it cutting, like she's kind of like blinking. It's cutting to black, and you can see these like legs walking towards her, and the girls' heads kind of staring at her. It felt a little too horror-y, and I wanted to stay like kind of in a quicker kind of comedy mode. So it's just like tightened it up.
That's cool. I'm very impressed of the short amount of time you were able to do that in.
Thank you. Yeah, we shocked ourselves.
Yeah. So what was? I was just gonna. What is? What was the makeup of the crew that you were working with? I think you said it was an all-female crew.
Yeah, it was an all-female crew, and then there was about 14 of us. And then we had one off-site art girl that made the book covers in like 30 minutes. And yeah, and then 2 people in post afterwards. So maybe a total of 16 altogether. But yeah, it was all Bay Area female crew members.
Cool.
And a lot of us had never worked together before, and it was really harmonious.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Very cool.
So I really I love the characters that you have in your film, and you did such a great job of capturing those in-between moments to like highlight their endearing personalities. How did you find those people and select them, I guess?
So I didn't have any characters decided before we went to the festival. I was loosely aware of the Quilt channel. I had been told about them, but I didn't know if they were real. Basically, like somebody told me about them, but I was like, that sounds amazing, like, and it very much like, a lot of the film is very much just like watching people love the things that they love to do kind of thing. So I think that really obviously exemplifies that. But yeah, a lot of it was just us being there and sort of getting a good sense of like who we wanted to film. Like I didn't even know who Eleanor Burns was before we went there, but like within 30 minutes of being in Paducah, people were like, have you heard of, or like, are you going to an Eleanor Burns show? Like, and I was like, what? And then like there were quilters that would just come up to us and be like, what are you guys doing? Because me and my partner who filmed it, who's sitting right there,
cool.
like they like just we stuck out like sore thumbs. We were like way younger than the majority of the people there, so they were just curious and asking us what we were doing, and it was great. I mean, like by the end of the week, there was like quilters that like in their cars were like, hi Olivia and John, and we were like, who the hell was that? Like, I have no idea who these people are.
Floating around the channels.
Yeah, well, it's just like very much that warm atmosphere. There wasn't a lot of barriers to access. There was a bit of like conversation with the American Quilter Society, obviously, before I went in and was like, this is the film I'm trying to make. And then they watched all my past films, which were all these investigative documentaries, and they were like, what type of film are you trying to make?
Are you trying to dig up some dirt on us? Like,
and I was
don't
like,
look
oh God. And yeah, so it was, but it was all pretty much field produced while we were doing it, which was very, we wanted it to be that way because it was like, I really had taken some inspiration from some films that were basically done in one event. And I'm really sort of drawn to that idea of like a beginning, middle, and end that all happen within a certain time period. And I had seen Election Night or Election, the Election, something like that, and The Convention, which are 2 great short films, and they sort of have that same feel of just like it's one specific thing and you're weaving in and out of characters. So I just kind of really wanted to try that type of story. Yeah, so we just met them, or they found us. It was a little bit of both.
Was Eleanor Burns hard to get a hold of? Did she have a security crew?
no, but she was the most like had a schedule, like, and
Sure.
she's been amazing. Like since then, I've had to like contact her for like different things, and she's just like always ready to talk to me, and we'll like get on the phone. And she's based in California too. She has a warehouse obviously in Paducah as well, but she's actually based in California. But yeah.
So you have a little quilting family now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? But I don't think you talked about what actually how you guys created the world you did. Why did you do book club? How did it like bring about? How many people wrote it? Like, how did it work?
Yeah, it was actually written by all of the actors that were in it, and I think
including yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because it was like you have to bring these people together. The 5 of us were all Bay Area actors, and we basically compete for jobs against each other. And over the last couple of years, and we finally were like, can we all just like go have drinks and like build a community here? So we did, and we were like, oh my God, we should write this. Then we had an idea for a web series, and then it kind of spiraled into, okay, let's make some stuff, but maybe let's start with this 48-hour film festival and give it a little test. So it was basically 5 of us sitting in my living room waiting for whatever we drew. And then maybe 2 hours of everybody like throwing out something and everyone being like, and then we shifted rooms, which I think helped. And we were like, okay, let's make it simple. We wanted something as well that passed the Bechdel test, because we researched a lot of things, and a lot of things don't do that. So that was kind of up there on our priority list. But we were like, okay, let's go back. Let's keep it simple. Book club. A book club. What can we do with a book club? And then it was like, oh, but what about like a dark book club? Oh yeah, but what about? And then everybody's idea that they had, like somebody wanted to do have a twist ending where somebody dies at the end, and then I was really big on the pun of like clubbing, and then
I love that scene. Yeah.
And I know for a while I really had to work that scene in. They were like, Syra, I don't know how this plays in, and I was like, we have to do a clubbing scene. And yeah, so we all kind of took something from everyone's idea and then concepted an outline of, okay, well, they'll experience all these aspects of the book. And then we all dispersed at like 1:30 in the morning, and 2 of the girls, Bailey and Kai, went back to their house, and then they really nailed down the script. And then I worked on like stylizing and deciding like what type of feel it could have, because by the script it was really dark, and we're like, how can we make it kind of a comedy? And I was like, oh, so I kind of watched a lot of like Shaun of the Dead kind of vibe clips, and I was like, okay, let's go down this route. So we all kind of brought something to the table, and the next morning we just threw a bunch of clothes down, and it was honestly the whole day, it was just unfolded one after another, and we just like scrapped scenes as we went. And yeah.
So at what point did you start shooting basically through this? Were you like,
we started shooting at like noon the next day. So we did like a read through in the morning, and then we scrapped a lot of stuff. We're like, that doesn't work. And then we brought the DP in, and I'm like, okay, like what about this? And we're like, no, we're gonna lose this scene. We're just gonna, and everybody just trusted each other and went with it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Can I ask one more question, or are we being cut off?
We have 1 minute left, and I wanted to just pop in because we've got so many great audience questions that I just wanted to like take 1 minute to answer. We've actually answered a lot of them for Syra. They're all related to like the 48-hour structure and how you like structured your time and stuff. But there is one question for Olivia that I think we can get to real fast. Joshua Pisanos, hey. He says, Olivia, were there any other storylines or characters that we didn't see that you wished you could have included?
Oh yes. Yeah, I think there were a lot of just like just general quilter statements that were really like enjoyable that couldn't make it into like any of the chorus type scenes, but specifically there's a quilt, you get one shot of it, but the National Quilt Museum is in Paducah, and there was a great scene with the guy who runs the quilt museum, and I loved it, but it ultimately had to be cut, but I want to just recut it and put it somewhere else because it's so great.
Director's cut.
But
Yeah.
That's my type.
yeah, it kind of was already. Yeah,
Yeah.
it had to be cut. It's too long, but
You got to release the behind the scenes on the DVD.
I know.